Hi everyone, my name's Emily. Welcome to today's session. We're going to talk all about money. So we're going to go through some important concepts that we need to know in order to grow our money. There are three ways that we typically make our money. The first is by trading our time. So when we go to work, we're giving our employer hours from our day in exchange for the pay that they give us. In order to make more money, we have to work more hours or get a second job. The second way is by investing in other people. So a business owner who hires staff and makes money off of their time makes their money this way. The last way is by investing other money. So this is typically called passive income because it doesn't depend on your time or your effort. Your money, if invested properly, can make you more money even while you're sleeping. Most people start with one or two, so they have a job, they're self-employed, or they own a business, and they work towards number three. We want our money to work for us. We don't want to work for our money for forever. Well, at least I don't. It's important to remember that getting to three is a long-term goal. Financial freedom in whatever form that means to you will not happen overnight. It's a continuous journey. You've probably heard the saying that money is hard to come by but easy to go. If you want to start keeping more money, then you need to either earn more and save it, so you need to create more cash inflow, or you need to reduce your expenses. In other words, reduce the cash outflow. It's very important to budget and to stick to that budget on a continual basis. There'll be another course on budgeting, so I'm not going to go into details here. But a proper plan for your circumstances, and the key is that you follow through with it, will get you started on your savings journey. So once you've understood how you're going to make more money, or keep more money, and you have some savings, you don't want to stop there. Now we need to understand how that money can grow so we can earn some passive income. There are four key components of this growth formula on the screen. So we start with our money, we add in time, we add in a return, we take out taxes, and we take out inflation, and hopefully that gives us growth or more money. We're going to go through each of these components individually. Let's start with time. Time is very important in saving and building wealth. Most people don't get rich overnight, and there is no formula that anyone can show you that will let you get rich overnight. This discussion here is about taking the money concepts to build wealth, retirement savings, whatever your goal might be. It might feel like a slow process at first and that you're going nowhere, but keep at it. The picture of the snowball is a great illustration because it works for savings and growing wealth. It starts out small and slow, but you will gain momentum and you will see progress as you stick with it. Time plays a big role in growing your money because of something called compounding. This is the idea of earning interest on interest. The longer you can compound your savings, the more it will grow. Let's look at an example here. So if you invested $10,000 initially at 5% interest, after 10 years, you would have over $15,000. But look at the interest earned in each period. In the first period, you earned $500, which is 5% of $10,000. But in the next period, you earned $525. This is 5% of the initial $10,000 plus 5% of that $500 that you earned last period. So by the time you get to year 10, you're earning almost $800 in interest. You haven't put any more money into this investment, just that initial $10,000. It's just that compounding interest that is growing for you. This is money making you more money. Okay, let's look at another example. Say you invested $2,000 a year for 10 years and you earned 5% interest. If you started at age 25, by age 65 you would have over $114,000. Now remember, the total amount that you put in was only $20,000, $2,000 a year for 10 years. So you've earned over $90,000. That's just in compounding interest. If you started 10 years later, by age 65, you would have just over $70,000. That's a difference of $44,000 just by starting 10 years later. Now at this point, I don't want you to get discouraged and think, well, I'm only 10 years away from retirement, so I don't have much time left to take advantage of compounding. It doesn't matter where you are in life, just start today, no excuses. Starting today is still better than starting next month or next year. There will always be expenses and reasons not to save, But the longer you do put it off, the further you're going to get away from achieving your goal. In my example so far, I've been using percentages, and these are called rates of return. This is the income that is made on an investment expressed as a percentage. So for example, if you made $200 on a $10,000 investment in 1 year, that would be a 2% rate of return. The rate of return is important because this tells us how much money our money is going to make us. Obviously, the larger the rate of return, the more money you make. However, keep in mind that returns are based on risk. For example, a savings account nowadays will likely make you less than 1% probably. However, there is zero risk that you'll lose your money. If you deposited $10,000 into a savings account, you can take it out at any time. It'll always be there. You will never lose it. If, for example, you were to loan money to somebody as a second mortgage, you could get a much higher rate of return. You could probably get about 8 to 12% today. However, there is risk that that person could default on the loan and you would not get it all back. You wouldn't get everything back that you invested. So because there's that higher risk of losing your original investment, you have to be compensated by a higher rate of return. So just keep this in mind when you're trying to decide where you want to invest your money and what your risk tolerance is. There's a neat little rule called the rule of 72. So if you take 72 and you divide it by the rate of return, this will tell you how many years it will take you to double your money. So let's look at these examples here, 4% versus 6%. At 4%, your money is going to double every 18 years. So if you started at age 35 with $10,000, by 71, you would have $40,000. If, however, your investment earned 6%, and you started out with that same $10,000 at age 35, by age 71, you'd have $80,000. And that's because your money is doubling 6 years faster. Keep in mind that this rule can work against you as well when it comes to your debt. So on the flip side, it will tell you how long it can take for your debt to double if you don't make a plan to pay it off. And credit card companies and lines of credit are not usually 4% or 6%. Think about a credit card that is 19% interest. That means it will only take 3.7 years for your debt to double in size if you aren't managing it. So we've talked about time and the rate of return. Now we need to consider inflation. Most people have probably heard the term, but nobody really thinks that much about it, even though it does affect all of us on a regular basis. Inflation is the general increase in prices and fall in the purchasing power of our money. So what does that mean? The best way to describe a purchasing power is to use an example. And I like chocolate, so we're going to talk about chocolate. Today, if you had $1 and went to the store, most stores you could get probably one chocolate bar. 30 years ago, however, that same dollar could buy you probably about 2 chocolate bars. And 50 years ago, that could buy you 10 chocolate bars. So what does that mean when we're thinking about our savings and our retirement? Well, in the future, we're going to need more money in order to maintain the same lifestyle that we have today. So if today you need $3,000 a month to live on, in 20 years, you need almost $4,500. That's just to maintain the same lifestyle. So just buying all the same things that you would buy today. In the last 10 years, the inflation rate in Canada has fluctuated from less than 1% to about 3%. So when you're evaluating where you want to invest your money, you need to make sure you're getting a rate of return that will beat inflation. Otherwise, you aren't making money. In fact, you're going to go backwards. So if your investment earns you 1% and inflation averages around 2%, annually you're going to be losing 1%. So your money isn't growing to even keep up with the rate of inflation. The final component in our formula is taxes, and this can be a pretty complicated area, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. I really just want to highlight a couple things. Similar to inflation, the taxes that you pay on your investment income is going to reduce your overall rate of return. In Canada, keep in mind that there are different types of investment income and they are all taxed differently. We've got capital gains, interest, and dividends. So typically capital gains are taxed at a lower rate than interest and dividends. We also have different ways to save. For example, we've got RSPs, TFSAs, and non-registered accounts. All of these play an important role in your overall plan to save and grow your money, But how you use them and which investment income you aim to earn will depend on your unique situation and what your goals are. Let's look at two examples that show the impact of taxes and inflation on our rate of return. So let's say we've got $1,000 to invest. In the first example, the rate of return on our investment is 2%. So you've earned $20 in the first year. You have to pay taxes of 30% on that investment income. And then we had inflation in this year of 2%. So at the end of the year, you're left with $994, which is less than what you initially invested. So you've actually ended up losing $6. Now in the second example, let's say our rate of return was 5% instead. We still pay our taxes. We have inflation of 2%. But this time, our year-end value is $1,015. So we've ended up earning $15. And that's because that rate of return that we earned was greater than taxes and inflation. So let's look again at our formula. We start out with money, we add in time, we add in a rate of return, we take out taxes, we take out inflation, and hopefully we have growth or more money. I want to leave you with two final thoughts. First, you need to be active in managing your money. You are the one that is going to care the most about securing your financial future because you're the one that's most invested in it. You've got the most to gain and the most to lose if you don't. Most advisors do care and they will help you guide you, but don't sit back and expect them to do it all, okay? Don't think that understanding money is only for someone who's rich. Anyone can save and invest and have an active impact in building themselves wealth in whatever form that takes. Finally, I want to encourage you to educate yourself. This is a great step watching this little video and hopefully you've learned something, but don't stop here, okay? Spend some time to keep learning about money, finances, and investments. If you want to make your money work for you, you've got to take control of it. Don't let it control you. If you don't know where to go from here, I would encourage you to go back to the first two slides. Start by understanding how you make your money and get a budget put together. I'll be doing another course of budgeting savings, so tune in for that later and start rolling that snowball down the hill, guys. Have a great day.